And we're back. Okay, one of the other things that we talked about as far as the game playability was the fact that the targets are just sitting there. They're pretty darn easy to hit, and that's going to make the game much less of a challenge than we'd probably like. So we're going to, in this video, add some motion to the targets. Now there's lots of ways we could do this, all kinds of different math functions and exotic things and random fluctuations and whatnot. And you can get into that if you want, but we're just going to put a simple sine wave onto the targets. And a sine wave, you may or may not be familiar with it. It's just a math function that repeats, that the values go up and then down and then back up, kind of like a cork bobbing on water with ripples, or a daily temperature patterns. Gets hotter in the daytime and cooler at night, and then repeats over and over and over again. So we're going to do that. We're going to create one script for all of the targets, and we're going to create some external variables so that we can actually, with that single script that's going to be applied to the prefab, go in on the individual targets and put a little bit of variation so that they don't all move in the same way at the same time. So that's what we're going to do, and let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to come into the project menu and create JavaScript, and we're going to give this script a name of Butterfly Float. That's a reference to Muhammad Ali's famous line. Open it up. And there we are. And we're going to create those external variables we talked about. So the first one here I'm going to call CTRX, and it's a float, kind of appropriate. Give it a default value of 0, and CTRZ, and colon, and it's also a float. Default value also 0, and that's good. So now we're going to come inside the update function here, and we definitely want the update because we want this to run every cycle. So we're going to have a variable inside here called posX for position X. It's a float. Another one called posZ. So we're just going to move these in X and Z. Y will just sort of stay as is. Okay. So now the positions here, we're going to say posX is equal to, and we're going to use that math function, the sine, which is SIN is the official name, and then we're going to use our CTRX, and we're going to multiply this by a conversion factor, and that's another math function. And this one is called degree to radians, so DEG to RAD, just converting the math. Then we're going to divide it by 30. That's just a scaling function. So going to do the same thing for posZ, and it's going to look pretty much the same, except we're going to use CTRZ, of course, and we're going to use a slightly different scaling factor. Now I'm just putting these scaling factors in as numbers. You could use variables and make them external for tuning, but I've kind of done this a little bit and found out that those numbers sort of work well. So now we're going to come in and actually write the line that moves the targets. So transform.translate, and posX for the X axis, 0 for the Y, and posZ for the Z. Now we need one more bit here, and that's to make these CTR, X, and Z values change each time the cycle. So we're going to say CTRX plus equals 0.7, and CTRZ, and this one will make plus plus. So it'll increment by 1. So these are different numbers. Okay, that all looks good. That looks good there. We'll save it and close our script window. Now we just need to apply this to our target prefab there at the top level. So drag it down, and there we go. We open it up, and there it is. Those values are 0, but let's just take a look at this here for a second. And you can see they're moving. They're all moving at the same way. This might make you seasick to look at this too long. So let's break that up. So we can close this. And now we're going to come into the individual targets. And of course, they've got the script on them. And we're going to change these numbers. And you can do this in all kinds of different ways. I'm just going to increment the z's here by 15. So the first one is 15. Second one is 30. You can use different numbers if you want. If you find these are not giving you enough variation, you can make the numbers bigger. And we're up to 60 now. And next one's 75. And now we're just going to zoom ahead here to the end. And the last one at 15 increments for 12 is 180. So now we're going to do the CTRX, and we're going to do these randomly. So just grab one out of the middle here, make this 15, and the next one 30. And like I said, you don't have to use these numbers. If you want to use different numbers, that's fine. The scaling factor might not work with a lot different numbers, but you can experiment. Okay, we're almost done now. And we come looking through. Are there any we've missed? There's got to be at least one we've missed. And there it is. So we come in, make that one 180. Okay, that looks good. We'll save. And let's run. And here we go. Okay, now they're still kind of moving similarly, but you can see they're not all moving exactly the same. So maybe that's enough variation for you. Maybe not. Maybe you want to add more. But we're going to leave it there, and we'll save again. And that's it for this video.